What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys are feeling better than the markets today, better than maybe even like the UK today, because they got new tariffs rolling out, or at least conversation of it, spooking the markets a little bit. But more importantly, we got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Bill, Cheryl, Emily, Jeff. Good morning. We got Joe. Good morning to Keith, Lance, Lauren. We got Lydia. Good morning to you. Good morning to Marius, Martina. Renee's in the house. Good morning to Rob, Shane, Tim. Good morning to all you guys. All my people out in YouTube land. Mustafa. It's been a minute. Mustafa says, glad to be here tonight. Yeah. Where have you been though? I was getting worried. I haven't seen you in a couple days, about a week. Welcome back though, Mustafa. Welcome back. Yeah, I don't know. This market is getting a little shake up. So yesterday was again very tricky day a little bit. We talked about the tight range that we had. So we had 581.37 should be support. Where did we get to? Well, 581.37. The higher side of this one looked like 584.44. We got to it immediately, pretty much first few minutes. We danced around in between those two levels for a while. Finally getting the break. Next target for me was about 588. Bulls not strong enough. They just could not even come in for that next retest. So toward the very end of the day, we had some kind of a sell-off into the close, but still hanging into that candle. Again, not a great looking candle. You get the momentum that really didn't come in until probably about 8 o'clock this morning, about an hour ago. You had some news, two things, one on Apple, one on tariffs. So Apple, Trump is saying the iPhones have to be made in the US, and obviously that's going to affect the labor cost of how to make those and jack up all the pricing. So not a good story for Apple for today. And Apple's been a little bit weaker coming into the even into that news. Spy then was probably down a little bit on Apple, but then you get the next tweet that comes out or the next truth that comes out saying that EU negotiations have kind of not been moving, and therefore maybe they should get a 50% tariff. And the market, as you can see, all the red is loving the headline. So we're right back to where we were before in terms of tariffs coming out. We do have a 3 day weekend, so if you guys are trying to tune into the show on Monday and you're not here, it's not me. I promise the market's not open, so nothing's gonna happen. Your portfolios are gonna stay exactly how they were by the close of today. So don't even have to worry. I know some of you guys are checking your portfolios on like a Saturday, just in case, a Sunday, just in case, a holiday, maybe it's open. I know you do, 'cause I do too. I've done it too. But we got the SPY, pretty big gap and go to the downside. Not a great open. The only thing for the bulls. I guess you got two things for maybe a bounce, for a reason for a bounce. Three things. Let's go with three things on this one. I've just upped the ante a little bit. But number one, I'm just trying to put a bull case together for this market for today. But number one is this VPOC right here. Pretty much right where we're sitting. We might be a tad under it though, which is not going to be great. Let's see if I have an exact line on that one. Would take me to about 574.69. So we are a few pennies below it. All right, we're gonna take almost that one off the table. We're in the zone of it. We'll see if we can open above it. Number two is I got my 20 EMA. Maybe that helps push us up there as well. And then number three is even though yesterday was a green candle, there was a lot of selling into the end of the day yesterday. So there is some shorts that kind of loaded up here or toward the end of yesterday. And but this candle here is the more important one. So that was the one with all the selling. That was a beautiful retest. Big beautiful bill, big beautiful retest. And then you have just all selling, all selling, all selling. So there's a lot of shorts that really piled in from up here and all the way through the candle into this little VPOC. So I think it does have the element for a retest. However, um, the new headlines with the tariffs, I don't know how many people are comfortable just jumping in. I think a lot of people are a little bit surprised or trapped anywhere below 581.46. And if we start to lose that level on the SPY, I don't have much really stopping us up until probably about 569. 38. So I think I don't know. We'll give the market a minute or two at open, decide whether we look to hold and get that retest. I could see it going that way. But if we don't hold that zone and now we're slightly above it or slightly at it again, but if we don't hold that zone, the SPY does have a little bit more to go. That will close this gap up, 569.25, and then I think you also have one somewhere around 564.60 would be the next spot. That would take you right to that 200. Much better spot for the SPY to bounce. Also, 3-day weekend, like we talked about. Is anybody else comfortable holding? I mean, we seem to have some escalation of the tariff talk again. We might continue that over the weekend. Maybe those headlines are good. Maybe they're bad. It's just flip a coin, I guess. But yeah, we'll see. We got the Qs. QQQ. So they're still inside the hammer from that big gap up. I forget why we even had that gap up. Was that the China? That might have been the China deal. So we're starting to slip through that one. Again, inside day candle though of that day. Maybe get bid up. I do think you got resistance about 506.69 for the Qs. You have a little bit of support in here at 503.04. That's still inside the candle, so a little bit tighter on the Qs. If we, and I don't know how good of a, because we've been there, we've retested that before. I'm not sure how good of a support that is, but it is there. Otherwise, I'd be looking for like 497.57 and then maybe back to 492.11. Quick survey. Quick survey. Type a one into the chat, whether it's the chat here or the YouTube. If this is a dip that you're excited to buy, type a two if you think we go lower from here. I need to do a little survey. So one, if you think this is a good spot to start adding some stocks. Two, if you're just a little bit hesitant to get into this one today. So there's a lot of twos. Anna says a one. Tim says a one. So we got a couple ones coming in, but mostly twos. Interesting. Interesting. The fear factor is back. Joe Dagger says two. M Sky says two. Me says two. Bijal says two. Bijal switched it to a one. Something changed there. Something changed. Teddy's thinking for a buy opportunity. Most of you guys. So all right, little survey. Most of you guys are leaning a little bit bearish and a little hesitant to buy this dip. Very interesting. The one thing is that I would say there is a lot of institutional buyers who probably missed most of that last run with a lot of money sitting on the sides. I think it's a better opportunity to buy this dip than we had 2 days ago, 3 days ago, last week. You're getting things on better pricing, and we also have a lot of earnings coming in next week. So speaking of the Qs, big part of that one is Nvidia, and I think they report. I believe it's Thursday. Double check me on that one, but I think they come in next week. I think you have uh Okta coming in next week. I think Marvell reports next week. A lot of tech companies reporting next week. And if you liked it before ahead of earnings, this might be a spot. I don't know about right at the open. Take a pause maybe. And maybe wait through the weekend in case there's some more headlines. You get a little cheaper. But if you're starting to buy it, I get it. It's still very very high up after this last run. So yeah, most of you guys survey says terrified. Sounds good. All right. We got USD. US Bitcoin, we've got pulling back a little bit again, outstanding run. Probably due for a little bit of a pullback, and this might be enough for the pullback here. We're not sure. 3-day weekend again. It could go either way, but obviously US markets are closed on Monday. Everything else is closed over the weekend except for Bitcoin, so that does give an opportunity to shine a little light on Bitcoin going through into a 3-day weekend. And if we do have any escalation in terms of the tariff deals or no deals, Bitcoin's probably going to be the one that really feels it. Otherwise, still looking good. Obviously, it's pulling back a little bit, but watch for 106.935 on Bitcoin if that could hold. Fantastic. And then you got to break through this new resistance somewhere around 110.888. If we could do that, you're probably going higher over the 3-day weekend, but that looks like a nice little break, elite retest somewhere back into this little bit of last double top-ish, and probably still continues to go higher, it would be my guess. Yes, I am still in on Tessie. I am still on the puts. Lydia says, I think we fill the gap, then the buy the dippers come in for more. Yeah, I can see that too. I think that would give an interesting spot. You don't, this market, you just don't know what the headline's going to be. You don't know. I think all the people that type twos, the concern is, well, there's a couple concerns. Uh, and then I'll also go with this case too. But I think there's a couple concerns. I think if you typed a two, it's because you're thinking we escalate on tariffs. If you typed a one, you're probably looking at the tariff tweet as further negotiation, probably in 2, 3 weeks, or before that, we have some kind of a better solution and we get more headlines of deals being made. Let's look at TLT real quick. This is where I'll go with a little bit of a tinfoil, a little bit of conspiracy theory. The bond market has been getting absolutely mollywopped. It's not good if the bond market continues to crash and we have some fear. Um, what is the best way to kind of save the bond market? Well, that would be to put some more fear into the stock market and people looking for safer investments. So you see today that we do have the bonds being saved a little bit. It's not crazy, but it is gapping up while everything else is getting killed. So I'm not saying it's on purpose or intentional, but I do know the administration does watch the markets. They're trying to hold everything together while they work out some deals. So interesting time as TLT is getting absolutely clobbered. There's fear panic in the bond market. Now all of a sudden you get some more tariff talk, you get some Apple talk, you get a bunch of headlines that cross the board all to the negative side, which would drive some volume into the overall uh, bonds holding it together. We will see. All right, let me know if you guys got any tickers you want to take a look at. We've been talking about Apple for a little bit, and Apple is gapping down pretty immensely. Not a great location. I would have looked for a little support on this one, 195.24. So if we do get bought up, watch that to be your first decent resistance. If the headlines continue, if there is some more fear panic on Apple, that would be your spot to look to go short. If you start to break it, hold off on the short, see if you come a little bit higher, maybe into 197.26. Again, it's a green candle from the day before, but even that candle closed, it opened and closed lower than the previous day, which was red. So you do have a little element of retest. Maybe don't be shorting right away. Although I think I got targets down to like 191.18. Just see if this one could get bid up first. We get a little bit of buying. I'm not looking for anything extraordinary buying. I'd even go high wave candle, but the high wave end of that has to be slightly at 195 or above. And we'll see. Yeah, Lily and UNH. UNH I saw today was gapping up a little bit. I didn't check Lily today. Yeah, they were gapping up a little bit more than this, so they've even pulled back. But they're holding on today. No, actually, now they're gapping down a little bit. Yeah, that didn't hold at all. Altogether, compared to the rest of the market, yeah, UNH is actually holding up really, really well today. I think they're just happy that it's not a healthcare headline. To be honest, everything else is getting clobbered, and healthcare kind of holding together. But yeah, still a gap down. We haven't really hit any supports yet. I think I'd still have to be leaning bearish. You have a nice trend to the downside, 1, 2, 3 VPOCs in a row. I've got my next target all the way down to 276.46. We tried to trade this one. I don't know if it was yesterday. I think it was 2 days ago. Just kind of held still, didn't really move. And then eventually we finally got a little bit of well, it was mostly coming from the gap down the next day, I guess. But I still have targets 276.46. I think there's some buyers sitting at that range. And then I think there's some more buyers trying to add or start their position 263.80 at this point. But still looking fairly weak, although today in the overall market is compared to the rest holding fairly well. I don't know how I want to play that today. I think I would just have to see what kind of candles we get, but I'd be leaning slight edge short term to the bear side on that one. Lily is looking a little bit weaker. Again, 1, 2, 3 days of selling. I really wouldn't be shocked if the buyers do step in at open, and I don't even know if it's the buyers. I think it's these shorts maybe trying to take some gains. Otherwise, I have this big red line here for a reason. 699.31 would be my target to the downside. We will, well, we already have that pretty high on the list, so we'll watch Lily today, see if it gets any kind of cool looking bounce. Yesterday was a perfect little retest, so retest into almost a close, and then we just kind of faded. And we not a good close. Yesterday below 716.98 is a shockingly bad close for Lilly, and it looks like we're just kind of continue that downtrend. So still weakness in healthcare. Uh, yeah, there was some headlines last night where anything quantum just absolutely started exploding. Really good day yesterday. I think even after hours. We went a little further. Now this one kind of pulled back a little bit. But yeah, really crazy day in quantum anything yesterday. So you could just put them all into a basket. But right now, after that kind of day, you're right about a 50% retracement. You are holding into a little support. If we could get, and again, it's down with the rest of the market, but right here is not bad. If we could get some kind of a high wave, maybe we could try to play some continuation on it. Look at the volume that came in, absolutely astonishing. And then also that candle did close above the next biggest volume, which is a red candle, and to the downside. So we are still hanging out. If we don't, because there's some now little tiny resistance above us. I think if you could get down a little bit further into like 39.79, that takes you almost to the right top of that candle, and you probably get better pricing on it. But now you got to work your way through this. So I'd be okay with a high wave candle. If it doesn't work, I would set it alerts at that point to like $40, 39.97, something like that. And we'll see if that one wants to move. Tesla. Bijal says he has some Apple puts. You are in the right direction then. All right, we got Tesla. Let me take off some of these lines. Again, looks weak today. It held up very well, a little too well yesterday. I was like, all right, it was a bullish engulfing candle at one point. And again, toward the end of the day, we did get some selling. Oddly enough, it held strong here. I still think a lot of this is just probably a retest. I do have targets down to like 323. We have been struggling to get down there. So again, at this level, we are, as long as we hang out here, those moving averages are catching up, and then that would set us up for a further break. Other than that, yeah, watch for today. This 334, 333 level. Those are my two spots. Yeah, right around 333.78. We've been there now twice. Well, we've been there almost four times actually. Let me correct that. We've almost been there four times. We've been there three, and then this candle got a few pennies away. So I'll call it four. And the rest of the market has some pressure today. Maybe we finally get that break, and I'm watching for see if, and from this point, you still get about a $13 move to the downside. And I think eventually we hit that. It's just been a struggle bus to get this pullback. So that shows a little bit of strength on Tesla. We'll see if that strength comes in today, and if the bell rings and you get all the crazy buy the dippers just buying because it's down a little. But watch those targets for 342.38 again. That should be your resistance. The closer you can get, if we get some kind of buying, fantastic. But I would be leaning still to the short side until you really start breaking out of this range. We've just been choppy, still holding, not even closing yesterday into that range. It was all below it. So I think I still like Tesla to the downside, although the bulls have been not letting it die. Wendy says, please let her die. Just, let's let the market do what it wants to do. Okay, well, I don't want to wish death upon any stock. Uh-uh. Just let it just let it do its thing. The ones I'm holding now are just protection, so I'm good either way with it. I'm good either way. But it's just struggling for the Bulls, but the Bulls are not quitting. Spotify is yeah, crazy. We were watching this thing back in the day, like 200. We were like, oh, is it gonna break 200? And now you're at 624. That was about 3 hours ago we were looking at that one, which is crazy. We got Spotify. So this is a retest gap holding into a little bit of support. Tariff talk. The ones that really did okay and held together during tariff talk, and if tariffs go away later today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, and you get some kind of a tweet, a correction tweet, a okay, we're doing better with UK type deal now, none of it would matter. But if we do, especially if we get some escalation and you are very high on Spotify, but the ones that were almost tariff proof, as the rest of the market was absolutely going crazy, is was Netflix and Spotify. Those were two that tariffs don't really hit them. Although then we did have a tweet specifically in terms of Netflix where tariffs can start to affect Netflix somehow. Not sure how. But yeah, I'm not too excited to go short on Spotify today. I think this would be probably a long as opposed to a short. See if it comes down a little bit at open. You get some people, some of the weak hands kind of freaking out, selling out a little bit. And then if that happens, and we hold that support, which is slightly lower, that actually might be a decent reversal for today. Just 3 days of selling. It's been strong into a support. I don't think I want to go short until 621.47 gets taken out and we get a close below that. MCD. Mickey D's. That one is gapping down too. It's pretty high up there, but I would assume with the tariff talk, some of the safety names, MCD pays a divvy. I would assume that they would be actually doing okay. Even in the last kind of sell-off, the AT&Ts, the Verizons, the Coca-Colas, they were all doing fairly well during tariff talk. Again, they pay a divvy. So when it's risk off on the table, people just collect some safe money in the meantime. Otherwise, McDonald's is just at the lower end of yesterday's range. It looks kind of weak here. You do have that 50 coming in, so maybe you could get something around 311.61. I do have a little level of support we're holding right now from, I mean, it goes all the way back to March 27th. So I don't know how strong that is at this point. Otherwise, it continues to sell 311.05, but I don't know if there's much range on it for today yet. Not yet. Nvidia. Now, here's the one. Well, I will hope it dies. I like Nvidia. I do. But I also know they have earnings next week. And do I really want to get in? Look at that gray line. No random gray line. What a champion that line has been. But yeah, so bullish if we get above it. Right now we're not even close to it. Nvidia looks a little bit to the rough side for today. You would think that you got that 130.35 as some type of should have been support. I would expect some resistance. You're below all of that. You might have some levels, like at the next level, 128.32. I don't know how strong that is. The next one down, 126.63. I don't know how strong that is. Next level probably takes you into like 123.41. And I like this one to the short side. Again, yesterday, so it is a gap and go technically from yesterday. However, nothing really mattered in that day. And most of the selling came the day before. Those shorts that were in there, they're still happy to be short. Nothing really changed for them. I think this does act as a little retest. I don't think we get much higher than 130.52. So if we do get bid up, look for 130.52, somewhere in that range, slightly lower, 130.35. I think if you go short there, I think you're getting a decent price. And I think this one actually has a big runway for some profit. So far, Tesla, unfortunately, has a big runway, although the bulls have been there. And then Nvidia. So those two, I think, have the biggest chance, or if it does work, have the biggest risk to reward on those two stocks so far. Yeah. Yeah. Into it. Good job, Bijal. You gotta look at where this thing closed. 666. I'll rebuke you. But Intel rebuked the shorts yesterday. So they reported earnings, pretty fantastic earnings. They came in with a 71 cent beat, almost 72-cent beat, so 6.55%. Revenue wise, they came in with 186 million surprise beat, so fantastic earnings. It absolutely just took off. I don't know where the high of this was. Did we get to like so yeah, about $10 off the high, and even pre-market the buyers were starting to come in again. For today, I don't know, but you have the pre-market support from around 714.68. I don't have any I don't have any levels higher, so we're gapping into all-time highs. If you played this one through earnings, and I wish I did, but I did not. I didn't even think of it. I haven't really been playing too many earnings this season because it's like the markets are so the reaction to some of these stocks, you get a good beat and then it falls apart. It's just like earnings roulette at this point. Other than that, I've got no targets. I can't go long here either. I wouldn't be shocked if this thing goes higher, but after the or from the high end of the reaction, you got about 730. So that if you hit that again, if it stalls there, that's $11 to the higher side. Otherwise, even a pullback into this little support 7, 10, 26. I don't know how to play this one, so unfortunately, I'm gonna take a pass, but I'm gonna watch it because it should be a fun one to at least watch today. If we get a setup on it, and for me, I just okay, everyone's made money to the long side. Like literally every single person right now in a minute and a half will be profitable no matter where they bought this one. And you got tariff talk, you got a crazy market, everything's. But I think there would be a sell-off if I had to take a stab at it, but just as much as I can see a sell off, I can see it running too. I don't know how to play it. We'll see if there's any fun candles to look at. Palantir PLTR. Um, again, the retail favorite. Why it's at 122, I don't know. I can't figure it out. In terms of valuation, I do like the company. But yeah, look for your first support on this one. Probably about 119.76. I wouldn't be shocked. You're still inside that candle. Yesterday doesn't really matter too much for me. And there was some selling in there. I think this probably gets bid up at open, but there's maybe your target on a really good day is 123.36. It's Palantir, so maybe we could expand the really good day out to, I don't know, $200 today would be fair. Otherwise, see if there's some chop first, and then I just don't want to short it yet. If we start getting underneath the 20, maybe is where I'll take a short. We're still above it at this point. But all right, guys, that is the morning bell. So unfortunately, we do have to end the live stream. You guys are incredible out in YouTube land, but yeah, don't be shocked when I'm not here on Monday. Keep in mind, markets closed. We do have that extended